Good morning, Minister. Good morning, Ambassador, colleagues from the media. It is our distinct pleasure to be here this morning to share with you the Government of Barbados's plans to observe the 50th anniversary of the Caribbean community. The press conference this morning will be chaired by Senator Dr. the Honorable Chantal Monroe-Knight, Minister in the Prime Minister's office, and we are joined by Ambassador Wayne McCook, who is an Assistant Secretary General of the Caribbean Community Secretariat with responsibility for trade negotiations and the Caribbean single market and economy. Without further ado, I turn it over to Minister Monroe-Knight.
Thank you very much, P.S. Jordan. As P.S. Jordan would have indicated, we are here this morning to provide some details on the government's plan for the what I'm going to call mega celebration, mega concert that we will be holding on July 31st. As you would know, the Prime Minister would have announced some weeks ago that Barbados will join the rest of the Caribbean in celebrating the 50th anniversary of CARICOM. Barbados has played a significant leadership role. Various governments, this is a national celebration. In our participation in the Caribbean community, with various institutions being here in Barbados, as I said before, various prime ministers holding significant leadership roles in various organs of CARICOM, including noting that Sir Grantley Adams was the first prime minister of the West Indies Federation. And therefore, we were very happy that the private sector, the labour movement, agreed with the government that it would be fitting that we have a one-off bank holiday, which will take place on July 31st here in Barbados to celebrate. But before I go any further and provide some details, I just wanted to ask Ambassador Wayne McCook just to contextualize the 50th anniversary celebrations for us, and just to help us to understand the importance of the movement. Ambassador?
Thank you, Minister. CARICOM is the foundational integration movement in the Caribbean, and Barbados has played a critical role at all stages of regional integration. This year we celebrate the 50th anniversary of CARICOM, and if we go back to the launch of CARICOM, we'll see that 4 CARICOM member states, together with Montserrat, were present at the launch of that process, and Barbados was integral to that. CARICOM now has 15 members and 5 associate members, and it integrates further with the rest of the Caribbean region through agreements with Cuba and the Dominican Republic. So it truly sets the foundation for the engagement of countries of the region in collective endeavor for the development and improvement of the lives of the people of the region. This year's celebration will take many forms. The 45th meeting of the conference in Port of Spain allowed for the heads of government to go back to the launch of the community in a commemorative event at Chaguaramas, and I know many would have followed that activity, in which there was a flag raising, the placement of a time capsule, and the planting of trees. In many countries, there are celebrations that are linked with other national activities to reflect the connection between the community and the national agenda and aspirations. And I think Barbados' move to have the celebration in this way, to pause to celebrate and, of course, to reflect, is most timely, and the community is very supportive of this. Of course, Barbados, as Minister has indicated, has played and continues to play a central role in many areas of the work of the community. And at the moment, the most significant undertaking of the community is, of course, the single market and economy. and the Prime Minister of Barbados is the lead head of government for that and provides guidance and direction in concert with her colleagues for what continues to be the most ambitious agenda of the community. So I address there, Minister, and certainly we would be happy to speak further to where we are in the community, what there is to celebrate, what challenges we need to continue to seek to overcome, and ultimately build a better community for all the nationals of the CARICOM region. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador McCook. I'm really appreciative of what you said in relation to the things that we have to celebrate. The notion of solidarity, particularly in the context of CARICOM, I think is our greatest strength. And our advocacy internationally and our advocacy globally is something that has done well for the region. In the context of Barbados' celebration that will take place on July 31st, we want to give full expression to that solidarity. So while the celebration, yes, will be here in Barbados, we will be inviting a number of regional acts that will be coming in to also help us celebrate. We will be having Destra that will be coming from Trinidad, Kevin Little from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Vaughn from Grenada, Tamika Marshall will be coming in as well from Guyana. We'll be having comedian Damien Melville that will be coming in from Trinidad. And we will still have, hopefully, some more surprises for you by the end of the day, hopefully to announce some other names that will be coming in from the region as well. But in terms of the Barbadian acts, we are putting on show the best of Barbados. We, of course, have the Mighty Gabby, Red Plastic Bag, Crossfire, Peter Ram, Little Rick, Blood, TC, Natalie Burke, Nikita, Ashaka McNeil, Matt Fingal, to name a few. But as well, we want to invite Barbadians to come out because this is really a moment to celebrate, but it's also a moment as well for us to showcase our own cultural heritage. So you will also see the Israel Lovell Foundation. We will also have a number of other cultural acts. We will have gospel artists as well. Nisha Woods will be there. Dance groups will be there. And we will also be telling the story of CARICOM, chronicling that through a number of educational clips, and to make sure that we again tell the story and give full ventilation to the moment of the 50th anniversary. So it's really, really a moment that we're asking all Barbadians to come out. It's a family event, so bring all of the family members. Particularly, we want to see the young people out as well so that they can understand again that history, that moment, but also as well to come out and to be able to celebrate. So thank you very much. That is what we wanted to be able to share with Barbados in relation to our celebrations on July 31st. But I also want to remind you that August 1st is Emancipation Day, and we will be having again a major celebration on August 1st. We are inviting Barbadians to come on out at 7 a.m. We will be having our usual trek to the Emancipation Statue. We will be inviting Barbadians to join us at various locations, including starting from Sky Mall, as well from LASC, from as well just coming from the Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic, as well, to be able to join us again for a full celebration on August 1st for Emancipation Day. Thank you.
Minister? Hi, good morning. Lorraine Graham Carter with CARICOM. Where will all these events be taking place? You mentioned performances by regional and local artists. Can you tell us where exactly the event will be held?
All right, thank you for that. So we will be at Botanical Gardens at 6 p.m. Botanical Gardens at 6 p.m. on August 31st. That's where we'll be having our mega concert for the 50th anniversary celebration.
All right, thank you. Another question, I'm not sure if you might be able to answer. We know that this is considered a one-off celebration for the 50th anniversary, whereas the other islands, well, from our indication, plan to do it on a yearly basis. Will there be consideration that it might be celebrated other years, or is this just the only time it will be?
Well, what is happening is that this year we're having the bank holiday as a one-off. It doesn't preclude us then in other ways celebrating CARICOM Day in other ways. But that this year we're just having this one-off bank holiday.
Okay, great.
This is a question for Ambassador McCook. In the 50 years of CARICOM, what can you say was your single most greatest achievement over the last 50 years?
Thank you. That's a difficult question. The community has a broad scope of activities and responsibilities on behalf of the region. Minister Monroe mentioned our voice and vote, that is our international advocacy. CARICOM has been able, through its advocacy at the international level, to deliver greater benefits for the community's members than they would have been able to secure individually. So I think that capacity to leverage the size and impact of the community as a group of nations that coordinate foreign policy in accordance with the treaty has been a significant advantage and benefit to the region. We also should not take for granted the mature trade in goods arrangement that we have. The region has had now for its 50 years a common market to a single market structure in which regional trade and trade in products within the region is privileged. And there are many companies here in Barbados and elsewhere that benefit significantly from the market arrangements that provide advantages for regional producers. There's a lot of scope to deepen that, and that is why two important initiatives now underway, the agricultural policy and the industrial policy, are so critical. If these can be successfully advanced, taken together with the trade arrangement, we can see significant uptick in growth and development through the regional integration of production and advancement of regional trade. There are other areas in which I think there much is happening, but not necessarily much is associated with the community institutions itself. That is functional cooperation. Much of this is done through institutions created by the community. So when a disaster happens, we know that SEDEMA, which is based here in Barbados, springs into action to coordinate critical and important support for countries affected. That is a reflection of the collective endeavor of the region to cooperate in disaster response. If you look at crime and security, there are institutions that bring together the region to work impacts, also with a presence in Barbados. The trade offices, of course, are based in Barbados. So I'm drawing a connection between your question, that is, what do we have to celebrate, and what connection does Barbados have to the region's agenda, and it is significant. The functional cooperation in health, for example, through Caribbean regional, through CARFA, headed by a Barbadian as well, is significant, and its outstanding work during the COVID pandemic has been recognized. So I realize I answered your request for a single point with a number of areas, because I think it's difficult to say that there is one single area in which we would want to one single area that we would want to recognize at the 50th. I think there are a multiplicity of achievements and successes that we should recognize, and of course we can have a conversation about the challenges, because regional integration by definition is not easy. CARICOM is a community of sovereign states. It is not a union, and so the way in which it achieves its objectives requires a balance between regional decision making and national action. But I think we have seen areas in which the two have to come together beautifully. There are other areas in which sensitivities in individual member states have caused the implementation of certain decisions to lag. But I would rest there. Thanks.
Ambassador, you spoke about health, you spoke about agriculture and industrial action. Prime Minister Motley raised the call for more integration as it relates to education and travel. You just mentioned, it's not as easy as people would like it to sound. Can you give us your views as it relates to her call for more integration as it relates to education and travel within the regional country? We know we have a travel issue currently. Can you speak to that?
Okay. Well, there's travel and there's transportation. The treaty provides for community nationals to travel freely through the region, and the efforts to make that work have focused more on the border to ensure that there is hassle-free travel. The recent conference has started a process to expand that to the right to travel and stay, and the elements of that decision will be negotiated over the next 6 to 8 months. In terms of transportation, the region is very much focused on this. There are many initiatives being discussed, but I'm not in a position here to say that there is a single solution inside. There are things that are happening organically. I noticed that a number of regional airlines are expanding their routes, and that should not be taken for granted, because to the extent that some of the solutions will come from normal commercial decisions, they could well be more sustainable alongside those decisions which may require governmental and intergovernmental action. So transportation remains a big challenge, but because it is recognized, the depth of the challenge is acknowledged, I think the response that is being undertaken at the highest levels of the community should see us coming to some arrangements in the near future to address that problem. In terms of education, I didn't mention the CXC because, in fact, having a regional secondary assessment mechanism that is recognized and respected should not be taken for granted. So in education, I think we would see the CXC, which is a creature of the region, of the community, as one significant intervention. There are other things that would have been done. In the free movement of skills, the one category that had been established was the right to move for tertiary graduates. So there we have one of the core rights of the community being linked to education. There are other things like mutual recognition of skills that tie also to education. We have the TVET and other kinds of initiatives which help to address other categories of skills and attestation of those skills. So I think the region has recognized the crucial importance of education. I think individual countries have privileged education as a high priority, I think in many cases from independence. But I would rest there, and if there are other questions.
there are no other questions, let me thank the press for coming out, as well as Ambassador McCook, to having come out with us and to share in these celebrations that we will be having. And again, just to ask all Barbadians, to call on all Barbadians to come out July 31st at Botanical Gardens, 6 p.m. for our mega concert and celebration. We want to promise you it's going to be a good time for everyone. Thank you so much.